Well, hello everyone. Thanks for hopping in again with me and Spike on another easy camping adventure. Today I'm in central Washington. Going to be camping possibly in Nanum Meadows. I've tried to camp there a few times, and each time I get distracted by a different campsite that I come across before I get there. So we'll see what happens. I'm definitely camping somewhere in between where I am and Nanum Meadows. Where am I? I'm on the old Blewett Pass Highway, right in central Washington. Heading off for the adventure that I'm going to experience today, and I'm going to share with you. For today's adventure, we're going to the historic Blewett town site and also the historic Blewett mining district right there all together. See what we can find in the ways of relics from the past. A couple weeks ago we went to the Liberty mining district, and this is just the district north of it, so it's in the same formation, the Swak formation, after the same gold, but in a different place. We made it to the town site. It's just right off the road. That's Highway 97, cars going past. So we just came up the road here, not shown in the picture. We're stopped here about at this hotel, and we're going to cross the road and see if we can find any ruins of the mill, which should be right over there. But first, on the way there, we'll stop right on the other side of the road here and check out the Blewett Arrastra. Yeah, it's right down here. There's where the stairs used to be. There's the town site marker, and right there where Spike is parked is the road that goes up to the stamp mill. Wow. This is an Arrastra that's made out of just one solid rock. They've been grinding ore in here, possibly this way. Maybe using power from the stream there to spin this. And if you look to the west, right across the creek, there's some metal there. Looks like a flume. I think there was a flume that went up here down toward the town site of Blewett, which is actually just right across the road behind me and about 100 yards away. So there's the old Blewett town site with the placard where we first stopped. If you come straight across the road and up here to the top of this hump and down this side, you'll arrive at the old mill. Spike is parked at the old mill. This corrugated metal is all that remains of the building that once housed the steam engine right here that ran the stamp mill. When they first built it, it was powered by water, but later around 1900 they put a steam engine in here. Wow, this is really cool. So as a carpenter, I can really relate to these shims. Someone hammered these up in here to adjust the position of this, what is that thing, a 4x12? It looks like there was another one clamped on this side that probably held some bearings through which the rod that the stamps were on would slide through. And the cam must have been up in here, flipping those, picking up and lifting those rods and letting them come down and hammer down here on the ore. So this is a picture of a 10 stamp mill that I found in Nevada a few years back. If you see that big wheel up there, it was attached to a pulley which would have spun that shaft. And if you look at the shaft, it's got a bunch of like crescent moon cams on it. As that shaft would spin, it would lift those rods and drop them. Lift and drop, lift and drop. And down here at the other end, you would see these big hammers. This is where they would put the ore, and those hammers are going up and down, crushing the ore into a flour. It looks like it was a 20 stamp mill, 5, 10, 15, 20. This one should just be stood up to right here. This one right here needs to be stood back up to the end. And then you have 4 of these posts standing there. And you have 20 of these big clamps here that they have. Here's one that's open to hold the stamp rods. Looks to me like the shaft that ran the stamps would have ran right through here. There would have been a big metal bearing here that would have been mounted to a piece of metal here and then mounted to this huge head frame. So at the Blewett stamp mill, each one of these stamps, the rod and the head, weighed 950 pounds. That's nearly half a ton each. They were lifted 6.5 inches and would drop back down on the ore 90 times a minute. If you could imagine 20 of these stamps lifting and falling 90 times a minute, each one of them, and each one weighing nearly half a ton. The noise must have been incredible. Apparently there was a aerial tramway, like a modern day ski lift, that brought ore buckets down from the mines up the gulch here behind the stamp mill. So this is the ore that they brought to crush up. A lot of times the gold was in this quartz, this kind of milky quartz here. Who knows, there could be a penny's worth of gold in one of these. Well, that was very interesting. What we'll do now is hop in Spike. I'm going to go back up to the to an old cemetery and check it out. So we're back here on the old Blewett Pass Highway again, ready to take a left here on Scotty Creek. We're about 3 miles from the old town site of Blewett, and it was somewhere in here that the old mill was situated, where all the lumber for the town of Blewett came from. I've never found any remains or anything, but it's interesting to note somewhere around here. Oh, there it is, the grave site of Pat King. We'll just pull in here. Here we are. This is the grave site of Pat King. You can see it on his headstone there. It's in the shape of a fish pointed down. But he was killed on this spot right here on September 23rd in 1892. He was a drover, which means he drove a wagon, and he was bringing supplies up here using this road, supplying the mines and the miners in this area. I guess the wagon wheel broke. He got a jack out, jacked up the wagon, got underneath it, and the jack slipped. The wagon fell on him and crushed him, and he was only 18 or 19 years old. But ever since then, the miners have maintained his gravesite here. Even to this day, there's a local mining club that keeps his grave in good shape. Gone but not forgotten. So I'm driving up Scotty Creek right now, heading back toward Highway 97 and Blewett Pass. We'll cross over 97 and camp on the east side. But I'm really struck by how many mining claims there are out here. As I'm driving, it's like every 100 feet or so there's one of those yellow signs on the tree that says mining claim. It doesn't mean you can't go there, it just means you can't collect anything there. Well, it looks like I'm going to make it to Nanum Meadows after all. Here we are rolling up on it on the left here. Actually, I won't be camping here. I'm going to go a couple more miles down the road. Here we are, home sweet home for tonight. Well, I'm sitting around camp here. It's a little too early for dinner. I'm getting a little antsy. I think I'll go for a walk. Go up the road here a ways. Maybe I'll see some elk. My wife and I, we call this place Cappadocia. Otherwise, it doesn't have a name. And that comes from a place, I think, in Turkey, where the rocks look very similar, and they've hollowed them out into houses. It's really cool. Look at that grass, how soft it is in appearance. Wow. There's Spike. Yeah, that's a fun evening hike. Still not hungry, but I'm going to go hang out and camp for a while. What a spectacular spot. Some homemade chili from last night. Oh man, what an awesome looking dinner, and what a spectacular spot to eat it. The sun is going down and the light on the textured cliff is just incredible and indescribable. Well, it's a little after 10 and it's 44 degrees. That's a bit chillier than I thought it was going to be. But I've got the fire going and that's keeping me warm. Unfortunately, I brought my heavy jacket. And it's such a beautiful evening. I'm glad I have that because I've been able to stay up pretty late for me. Off to my left here I can see the Big Dipper. Nearly in front of me I can see the North Star, and then just slightly off to the right here over the top of the ridge is Cleopatra rising, and behind me the full moon, the nearly full moon, skims across the top of the ridge to my rear. Gosh, I wish I could stay up or I could just put a stopper in time and just sit right here and freeze frame this moment and just be here until somehow I became bored of it, which I don't know when that would be, but I must accept reality. I can't stay up late. I can't stop time. I'm going to have to crawl into bed. But that's it. I'm gonna crawl into bed. Call it a day. Good night. I'll see you tomorrow. Wow, what a beautiful morning. The birds are singing. The air is brisk. It got down to 40 degrees last night, but the sun is out now and the sun is warm. It's 50 degrees right now. That's not bad. I'm gonna have breakfast right here in just this beautiful, spectacular setting. Wow, it's so pretty here. There's all these birds hanging out in the trees. There's chipmunks running around feeding here in the brush underneath. So pretty. Just about got my coffee done, and it's almost 9 o'clock in the morning. It's actually getting warm, considering how cold it was last night. But you know what that means? I think another adventure has come to a close. This was really great too. Hope you enjoyed that old Blewett town site mining district. And I hope you join me next time on my next Easy Camping adventure. Till then, you've been Easy Camping with Dan Dog and Spike.